From now until Election Day, Ed Tibbetts, political reporter from the Quad City Times, and I are partnering to fact-check political ads. This week we are fact-checking two, one attacking Congresswoman Cheri Bustos and one attacking her opponent Bobby Schilling. The ad going after Congresswoman Bustos is from Bobby Schilling and targets promises and votes she has made. We will show you the entire ad and then break it down for you.
Congresswoman Cheri Bustos refuses to be accountable for her promises and her votes. Bustos promised she'd cut her own pay by 10%. Now she claims she misspoke. Bustos cast a vote on House Joint Resolution 59 on December 12, 2013, a vote to cut veterans' benefits by $6 billion. After public outcry, Bustos voted to restore the cuts. Will she now claim she misvoted? The facts don't lie. Congresswoman Cheri Bustos refuses to be accountable for her promises and her votes. Bustos promised she'd cut her own pay by 10%.
It is true that 2 years ago, then-candidate Bustos told the Chicago Tribune editorial board she would cut her pay by 10%. The Schilling campaign released audio from that interview in August.
My proposal is different from his. I'm saying that across the board, that we would take a 10%, members of Congress would take a 10% pay cut.
Personally,
take a 10% pay cut until we get this budget under control.
you return 10% of your salary?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Excuse me, we're going to pension and health care, there's a lot more skin in the game than that 10% pay cut.
Well, I understand that. I mean, that was his proposal. My proposal's different. It's just, and I think that's some good skin in the game too. I think that's, saying that we've got to work hard to make this happen. And I'm saying, though, this is a vote that every member of Congress takes a 10% pay cut, and there's a pay freeze until we get this.
Sorry, I'm confused. Are you, if you're elected, are you going to say to whoever the HR, keep 10% of my pay?
I'm saying that we.
It's yes or no. Are you going to voluntarily give up 10% of your salary?
Yes.
Now she claims she misspoke.
It is true, at the beginning of September, Bustos told the Peoria Journal-Star, "I mistakenly made a comment about what I had been talking about for my entire campaign, which is that I support legislation for all members of Congress to give up 10% of their pay as part of a larger budget package." The newspaper went on to quote her as saying, "When I was in Chicago, I said something that I shouldn't have said, but I never said it on the campaign trail. I never made it as a promise to the people in the 17th Congressional District." The ad goes on.
Bustos cast a vote on House Joint Resolution 59 on December 12, 2013.
True, Bustos voted to pass this bill.
A vote to cut veterans' benefits by $6 billion.
This is misleading. The vote was on the entire bipartisan budget agreement of 2013. In it, a plan to lower pension increases for working-age military retirees by reducing the annual cost of living increase by 1%, which the House Budget Committee said would save $6 billion over the next decade.
After public outcry, Bustos voted to restore the cuts.
It is true that several news reports focus on veterans upset over the cuts. And it is true that in February, Bustos voted to repeal the cuts, known as the Military Retiree Cost of Living Adjustment Modification. Our research finds the majority of the claims in this ad are true. Now we will take a look at an ad going after Bobby Schilling. The ad is from the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee and makes claims about the former congressman's votes and how they benefited companies that send jobs overseas. We will again show you the entire ad and then look at each claim.
It looks beat up now, but it was the beating heart of this town. Illinois has lost over 100,000 jobs to outsourcing and unfair trade deals. But as a congressman, Bobby Schilling voted to reward companies that outsource, letting them keep their tax breaks and their government contracts. He used your tax money to help send American jobs overseas. We don't need any more politicians like Bobby Schilling. The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising. It looks beat up now, but it was the beating heart of this town.
The ad titled Heart from the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee makes claims about job losses, outsourcing, and offshoring, or sending jobs overseas.
Illinois has lost over 100,000 jobs to outsourcing and unfair trade deals.
This refers to a report from the Economic Policy Institute from September 2011. That report found 118,200 Illinois jobs were lost due to trade with China from 2001 to 2010. It points to China's currency manipulation and other trade policies as reasons for the job loss. The ad makes claims citing two bills.
But as a congressman, Bobby Schilling voted to reward companies that outsource, letting them keep their tax breaks and their government contracts.
The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee says it is referring to an amendment to a bill in January 2011. That amendment called for preventing companies that offshore or outsource jobs overseas from receiving U.S. government contracts. And it is true that Bobby Schilling voted against that. It was an amendment to a budget bill up for vote which would have cut non-security federal spending for 2011 to 2008 levels, which Schilling voted for. The ad also cites House Resolution 9, known as the Small Business Tax Cut Act. Bobby Schilling voted for this. The bill called for a 20% tax cut for businesses that employ fewer than 500 people. There was an amendment presented that would not let companies that move jobs overseas to get that deduction. Bobby Schilling voted against that. The entire Small Business Tax Cut Act passed the House and then died in the Senate, never becoming law. The ad continues.
He used your tax money to help send American jobs overseas.
While parts of this ad are true, our research finds the end of the ad misleading because it doesn't provide specific details and fails to connect exactly how he is responsible for sending jobs overseas. To watch this story in the version from the Quad City Times, head to our website, WQAD.com. Just type in fact check in the search bar.